Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of Common Ground. As we promised, we are back again, whether you like it or not. My name is Chris, your favorite Republican. That's Josh, your favorite Democrat. And our mission is to bring some peace and hopefully some unity to the country with our show. That being said, we're going to jump right in. Anybody that's been watching, and we're growing, the family's getting a little bigger here. We appreciate your support, and we would like everyone else to come along, like, subscribe, share. Help us grow. We're trying to do something good for the country here. We need to stand up for our country, and I think we can do that. We should do that. That being said, let's get into it, Josh. We decided we're going to start getting ready to talk about the 2024 elections. Yeah.
Yeah, they're right around the corner here. This time of the year it starts to get heated up. We got a bunch of people joining the race, especially during this past week. We've had a few big names that jumped in. Um, and this being a political show, we are going to be covering some of these candidates. So that's what we decided to do this week, and kind of give our rundown of the top ones that are in the race right now, and kind of just an overall view of the field and who's out there right now for the Republican Party.
Yeah, I got a list here. We're gonna go over real quick, and then we're gonna give our top three, and I'm gonna give my top three people that I'm watching, and I'm gonna watch closely early. I think I would encourage everyone to start paying attention now if you really care about the future of our country. This isn't a Democrat Republican issue. This is an us American issue because our votes matter. Some people think, oh, our votes don't matter. They do. It's our really only way to engage in this conversation of the forward direction of our country. And I believe that. And I think we all are entitled to our own choices, but we got to make good choices. And we're going to try to help with that. And we're going to try to show you what Josh and I can come up with in terms of who's the best person. And someday we challenged ourselves to, as I as a Republican and he is a Democrat, to try to come up with one person in America that him and I could both agree on. We ain't there yet, but we're working on it. And just to show people there's got to be somebody that the overwhelming majority of us can agree on. That being said, uh, should I start the list here? And anybody who doesn't stick around, you're not going to hear the top three. So you're going to have to stick with us to get to the end of the whole discussion. So if you got
Yeah, we're going to be giving our top three from from Chris, how he sees it. He's going to be voting Republican, obviously, and my top three, which I think you know are just the front runners of the Republican Party there. So join us. We're going to run through the list, and we'll give you guys our choices here at the end.
Yeah, so here's the running list with a couple exclusions of people that are thinking about it. So we got Trump, okay, 76 years old. We've got DeSantis, 44 years old. Nikki Haley, 51 years old. Vivek Ramaswamy, 37. Larry Elder, 71. Tim Scott, 57. Asa Hutchinson, 72. Chris Christie, 60. And Mike Pence, 63. We're not going to talk about all them because we're not going to bore the living shit out of everyone. Those are the people that are running, have actually thrown their hat in the ring. So I got no interest in talking about most of them. I am not following much about any of them. The three people that I'm going to break this off into two quick sections. One is the people I think are going to gain the most traction and what we're probably going to be watching. And then three candidates that I personally, as an individual, am watching and I want to hear closely what they had to say. I personally think that your three front runners are going to be Trump, DeSantis, and Tim Scott. From what we have now, and more people will show up. Um, I don't even know where to go with Trump. I mean, I'm gonna stand by my core values with age limits. He may be cognizant. I may have supported him in the past, but I'm not down. We got to do something different here, and I don't like already how he's alienating some people that I want to hear. I want to hear what everybody has to say for the most part, and to play the little romper room bullshit with the sanctimonious. And he made a comment the other day, Trump, that why are they even running? Well, I want to hear what they have to say. So, um, he needs to be careful with this with a lot of us. I think he's lost a lot of support. And he needs to be careful. I want them to run against Biden. I don't want them to run against each other. I want to hear what each individual has to say about the forward direction of what they think they can do to help our country. I don't want to hear the romper room bullshit. I want to get serious and I want to have real discussions here. I don't need to hear that. So, but I believe he's going to be one of the ones we're going to be hearing. Okay, I'll listen, but let's be adults here. Okay, let's not start with a bunch of bullshit that captured my attention first go around. It's not going to work the second time with me.
Yeah. And competition is healthy. I think it's good to have a variety of choices, and a lot of these guys have different views for the direction of the country. So it's good to have different candidates, all from different backgrounds and things like that. So I think it's healthy competition, and I know Trump. I'm sure he doesn't want that many people in the race, but I think overall, if he can make it out still on top out of all these people, it looks better for him. I mean, it's
Yeah.
better for the country and for the party as a whole. So competition is always good, man. It's good to challenge the status quo and kind of just see what's out there.
It is good. I just don't want to turn it into a low budget freak show.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's let everybody talk. Let's debate and let's do it like adults and let us Americans listen and choose who we think made the most sense. For me, the three people I'm watching that are my top three right now. One is not Donald Trump. My first choice as we engage in this conversation for the next year and a half, would number one would be Ron DeSantis, number two would be Tim Scott, and number three, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, but I like some of what I've heard that Vivek Ramaswamy. I would have to wrap my head around saying his name, President Ramaswamy, but that's okay. We can get past that. I like a lot of what the guy has to say, and my biggest um, what I like the most is he's not a career politician, which is one of the attractions I had to Trump. He's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman. I don't want the career politicians anymore. That's why he's in my top three. I don't think he has a chance of winning, but I want to hear more what he has to say.
Yeah, and he's actually very interesting. He's I believe the youngest out
Yeah,
of all of them.
37 years old.
And he has some really interesting ideas. And the thing that I kind of that just struck me about him is that he wasn't as divisive as we've seen from some of the other candidates. So I mean, he's obviously a Republican. He has his beliefs that he believes in, but he, from what I've heard him talk so far, and every interview that he's given, he always makes sure to kind of try to bring the country together and kind of,
Yeah.
how we can move forward from this. And he's not as brash and he's not as controversial as some of the other ones. So, one of the guys, like you said, I don't think he has a chance. This country is just very stuck in our ways. We're not going to elect a president Ramaswamy, but the ideas he has are worth listening to. And I wouldn't mind either seeing him in an upper level cabinet position or maybe as a
Right.
vice president somehow or something like that. But interesting, man.
You know,
He's definitely caught my eye.
people have to remember that just because he may not win the presidential election, that we can't position people all throughout our government like
Oh,
him.
for sure.
I like him. I think he makes sense. He wants to abolish the IRS. I'm in. I'm in. Let's abolish the IRS. I don't care if a Democrat or a Republican does it. Get him out. Get rid of him. Abolish him. He's for capitalism. All of my core beliefs as a I think sometimes people conflate the idea of what a Republican is and what a Democrat is. I think we have, as individuals and as American citizens, we have a core belief in our heart, and that's not really to me a Republican or a Democrat issue. That is a personal issue of what's best for me, what's best for my neighbor, what's best for you and your family, or all you folks watching. I think that's really truly to me what it boils down to. And we need to put these people in office. He's somebody that I agree with you. If he's not the president, I'd like to see him somewhere
Yeah.
else. He says a lot of good things. He says one thing, and I think people that are going to pay attention, they need to uh, listen to all of what they're saying, not just one or two key points. He did say something I don't like. He wants to change the voting age, which would need a constitutional amendment from 18 to 24 or 25. I don't see the relevance to that. But within the context of that, he did say something that was interesting to me in terms of, how we go to get a driver's license, we got to take a test, right? Anybody have a problem with that? He did make a point that maybe it would be interesting for to get your voting ID card, you have to take a civics test. All of us. I don't know. I'm not saying it would should happen, but it's an interesting twist to me.
Um, it's I don't support it at all. I think I don't support um many things with the age limits actually, and my main problem with it is that in this country at 17 years old, you can sign a contract to join the military. Before you're 18 years old, you can be deployed and you can be killed in warfare before you're legally allowed to smoke a cigarette in this country. You're not allowed to smoke a cigarette, but we will allow you to go ahead and pick up a rifle and send you to Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or wherever we are at this moment, and we have no issues with that. But for you to drink a beer, no, no, sir, you can't do that. We don't trust you enough. We trust you enough to send you
You
to
can't
war.
vote. You can't even buy a lottery
We
ticket.
don't trust you enough. You can't buy a lottery ticket. You can't go sign on an auto loan. You can't vote in this instance, or we're trying to make it harder. So no, I don't support it at all. If they are old enough to go ahead and fight in our military, you're old enough to be a productive member of society. Matter of fact, we should probably lower the age to whatever age that you can enter the military. So if it's 17, as much as people don't like to hear it, if a 17-year-old is old enough to go to war, he's old enough to have a vote, and he should have a say in politics. It's just one of my key core
Yeah,
beliefs, and I just kind of experienced that. I knew a lot of kids when I was going in high school that signed up at 17 years old. Not old enough. You still had to get your parents' permission to be able to sign for the recruiter. Uh, so we entrust them enough for that, but not for other things. So yeah, I
yeah.
one of
No,
the ideas I
I'm
don't
with you on
support.
that. I don't think we should raise the age limit at all. I thought it was interesting about taking a civics test.
And in this
Out of
country,
his whole idea
we have
there,
a bad
huh?
history. In this country, we have a bad history with that. It's just and I know I'm not the only one, but if you learn, about back in the 1800s or early 1900s, where we had Jim Crow and slavery was outlawed, but to vote, you had to um, guess the number of jelly beans in a jar, or you had to know, a lot of these people were illiterate. You weren't allowed to go to school, but they expected you to. So in this country, we have a bad history of the civics test and kind of limiting who can vote by what your knowledge is, and I don't I
No,
don't
it would
believe
be
in that, man.
simple. It wouldn't be a high school final exam. I think people should at least know one or two of their Supreme Court justices.
Oh yeah.
What are the three branches of government? I'm not saying that I disagree with you on that. I think we should. I mean, should we? Maybe, maybe not. I'm of the opinion. I like the idea
Yeah.
if you could orchestrate it properly, um, and then you would get you know an ID card. I'm all about that. Stop with the you got to have ID to vote, and you would get that when you pass your civics test. It doesn't have to be that hard. I mean, a 5-year-old kid can learn how to use an iPhone. They can take a civics test when they're 18, freshly out of high school. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it all depends on the execution, and it's kind of like a lot of these ideas. It can be something good, or it can turn into something that's not so good. So, I'd like to hear more about it, kind of hear how they would institute it. But like I said,
Yeah.
I don't think it has a chance to pass in this country. We couldn't pass a
So
a constitutional amendment right now to saying that water is
yeah,
good
it
in
would.
this country. So it's not gonna work.
It would be far on the list of things I'm listening to. It brings the discussion that people that want to vote and just vote on one topic, abortion or age like that, voting on age limits or just fiscal spending, whatever. You have to vote as all of the items together. You know what I mean? If you're just going to vote somebody in because they're pro or they're for or against abortion, well, there might be 15 other issues that are going to affect your life. So get a cumulative idea of what you're voting
Yeah,
for.
single issue voters
Um,
are, yeah.
and that's a problem to me. And people need to listen. Pick who you want to listen to. I would suggest picking three like we did and listen to them. Listen to them closely.
Yep, yep.
And make sure you're not a single issue voter. I don't think that's a good idea for the country, and I think people do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a ton of single issue voters in this country, whether that be abortion or gun rights or the economy, anything like that. Yeah, you should take it all as a whole and kind of see the whole picture of who you're voting for and kind of what your candidate supports. So in that sense, I think my top three candidates right now that the Republicans are running. I mean, obviously, and not that I support the guy at all, but the front runner right now in on all measurements and all polls and however way you want to measure it is going to be Trump, and I think it's not going to go away. I'm pretty sure Trump is going to be at the top of that ticket. So it's just the reality of the situation. I just really believe he's going to be the front runner when it comes down to um, November of next year. But the other guy I would, which is obviously the other front runner, but Ron DeSantis, and him, I have my own personal issues with. I think he's just a Trump light or maybe Trump max, however you want to look at it. But he's kind of has right wing ideology and kind of like more. I don't want to say extreme, but just more center right than what other candidates have. So it's or more right of center than what other candidates have. So, but that being said, he is also another front runner. He's people like what he's doing in Florida, and I can see him being on the ticket either as the main guy or as much as him and Trump are going back and forth. I can possibly see them both on a ticket where
I,
Trump is
I,
president, DeSantis is president.
I do too. I think there's probably some shit going on behind the
Yeah,
curtain. I thought that too. Is they're going to wind up Trump DeSantis? You see the flags already out. I don't know if that's a good idea.
yeah.
But so let me ask you a question. We had a show a couple weeks ago, and we talked about Trump and Biden are probably going to be the two choices again.
Hmm.
That's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Let's assume I'm just picking your brain a little bit here. Let's assume that it was a DeSantis Biden ticket. You're not a big supporter of Joe Biden.
No,
Would you vote for DeSantis as the lesser of two
no,
evils?
no.
Why
Easy,
is
easy
that?
choice there. I do not like.
So you would vote for Biden no matter what, then, no matter who we field on the Republican side.
No, not necessarily. Just the ones that you guys fielded now. And I would like to remind you guys, it's not about. I don't vote, or I'm sure there's a way to pull up voting records. But if you see, I voted for Republicans in the past. I voted for my or our former governor here, Larry Hogan of Maryland, and I would support a centrist governor like that. Now I know that's not kind of what the Republican Party wants, but if there were a more moderate candidate, I if my choice was between Governor Hogan and Joe Biden, as much as I like Biden, I really don't like Biden, but as much as I like the Democratic, I would vote for Hogan because I just think that's would be better for our country. He would
Yeah.
put our country. Now, if you give me the choice between Biden and DeSantis, DeSantis has just I mean it's always like the other side. So I'm the enemy. I'm a Democrat, so now all of a sudden, you're not supposed to like me. I'm ruining the country somehow. I don't like to work somehow. I'm out of a lot of people that I know, I mean, I've held down two jobs for the past 7 years, sometimes three jobs, and the people that know me within these jobs, like I run companies, so it's um, busy all the time. So it's funny to me when someone say, "Oh, Democrats don't like working." I would probably outwork you, and and I'm
Not
not saying that
me, not me. He's
as
talking about you folks.
yeah, I'm not saying that as like I'm trying to brag or anything, but it's we can't put people in these you know, you can't think all Democrat, oh, I'm just sitting at home collecting welfare. I don't have
Yeah,
welfare. I have a kid that has special needs. We're not eligible to get Social Security for him because we both work. Both of his parents work. I'm married. I'm a homeowner. So all these things that kind of they try to put me into a category like I'm not any of those things. So I don't like the division that us versus them.
right.
Oh
Yeah. Well, it becomes trench
yeah,
warfare
yeah,
at the elite level, and it becomes trench warfare down here. I think we're bringing a different perspective to that because I do agree with you. You know, the Republicans are often, Bible thumping, gun toting, weirdos. The Democrats are the ones who don't work. I think there's an ideology there, but there are a lot of Democrats that do get up and
yeah,
go to work. There's a lot of Republicans that get up and go to work. There's a lot of Republicans that don't get up and go to work and are living on the
yep.
system. So there's the division comes because of what we get planted in our heads by who? Government and the
Yep.
media.
And it's the
You
elites
know?
up there that are that are running things, and they're the ones. But look at your neighbor. More than likely, he's not of the same belief as you are, and he still has to go and live his life and deal with issues every day. So it's not as black and white as they make it seem. You know,
Yeah.
it,
And again, I've said this before. They need our division to keep us at bay and keep them in power.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I firmly believe
Yep.
that. And here's a perfect example. We have disagreements, but ultimately, we're all in the same playing field down here doing the grind
Yeah.
every day. Your family working two jobs. A lot of people work two, three jobs, and I would suspect that there are Republicans and Democrats doing
Doing
that
the
because
same thing.
everyone has to survive.
Exactly. Yep. We're
There
all
is a
out here, man,
problem
in the
with
trenches, and the generals
yeah,
are up there,
and we
from the trees telling us, hey, you guys should do this, but we're living down here in the trenches with the rats and the malnourishment and
yeah,
all this stuff. So yeah, yeah. At the end of the day,
and in the end, we need to rein that in as you and I people
yeah,
down here. We need to get on the same page and start holding our government accountable because they ruin a lot of shit on both
yep,
sides, and they ruin shit for us down here.
yep. And
So that being
the
said,
final
what
the
happened?
final candidate that I would pick, I know Trump, DeSantis, or not that I would pick, but the top runner that I see in my mind, and he just came into the race this week, but I think Mike Pence just rounds that out. I think Mike Pence provides a more with I don't like his policies either, but for somebody that's looking for a more moderate candidate, from what you'll get from either Trump or DeSantis, I think Pence is that middle ground. Again, he's right of center. Also, it's not like he's a big progressive member of Congress, but he would provide kind of that easy center option. If you're still looking to vote Republican. So I think, I mean, as of right now, I'm sure he's not even polling that well in the 1-2%. But I think we will see that rise as we get closer to the election.
I, I don't think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna go a little bit. My problem with him is I think he's an okay dude. I think he's probably for the most part kind of square, just an average family guy. He would do well with the religious
Oh yeah,
crowd. Um, but my problem with him is I want to get past the Trump era. He's going to bring Trump baggage, and you know as well as I do, put them two guys on a debate stage. I don't want to
yeah,
hear it.
yeah, for sure.
Should he has every right to run. I, I, I I know this isn't going to happen, but I'm of the belief right now we need to take if you took Trump out of the picture right now and let these other people let us hear what these other people have to say. I'm in the same boat with Trump and Biden. I we need better choices than both of
Yes.
them. And my fear is what's going to happen here. Who's going to be the ultimate choice? And then we're screwed if it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
So
Just like from our previous
I,
episode, if you guys watched our previous one with the aliens, who would you like alien representative to come down and meet as your leader? Just think about that. These are representatives of of us as a country. So it's pretty sad to say, but
Man, what a conversation that
yeah,
would be. An actual alien talking to our government
yeah.
officials. That would blow my
Oh
fucking mind.
man,
The alien probably make more
yeah.
sense. Uh,
So
but we'll see. We're not going to talk about this every week. It's going to be an ongoing thing for an hour and a half or a year and a half, rather. We'll see what happens. We're going to touch on this, from time to time, see how things are going. That's just our assessment early on here. I think it's a good assessment. I think people need to pay attention. It's
yeah.
coming. Sounds like it's a long time away, but we're voting. It's going to be here before
Oh
you
yeah.
know it. And we need to start preparing today. Now we need to stand up and grow backbones and go out and do our duty and
Do
vote.
your research
And we
on
need to
these
pay attention
candidates
and
and make
vote.
sure they're doing the best for the country, as a whole. It's not just about
Yeah.
you. It's not just about your neighborhood. It's about us moving forward together as a country. So do your research. You have plenty of time. It sounds like plenty of time, but it comes quickly. So make a good choice. Be informed, and I think that's the most we can ask of voters.
You're probably going to do better off voting for a Republican, but you folks make your own choices. I'm okay with that. Probably want to stay to the Republican side. We might do better off that way, but just saying, folks.
So yeah, that's our show this week. We thank you guys for joining us for another week here, and keep coming back and tuning in. We'd like to remind you, if you guys can like, share, subscribe. If you haven't already, turn on notifications. That way you get notified. We're trying to get to a schedule here where we're putting out videos. But we're still new, and we kind of work with life, and life gets in the way. So we're trying to put out videos as often as we can. So stick with us, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can keep growing and make this work.
Join us. Join us for our journey to be free people and be good, kind American citizens to each other. We can do that together.
Yep.
So I'll see you all next
Have a
time.
good night.